The U.S. is facing the widest gap on record between the number of home buyers and home sellers in the country, creating an opportune market for those currently looking to buy a house. According to real estate tracker Redfin, as of April, there were an estimated 1.9 million home sellers in the U.S. and only about 1.5 million home buyers. That marks nearly 34% more sellers than buyers. To put that in perspective, there were just 6.5% more sellers than buyers last year and more buyers than sellers in 2023. Now, Redfin found that the areas with the biggest gaps between sellers and buyers included cities in Florida and Texas, Nashville, Las Vegas, and Phoenix, Arizona.
Of course, Florida's on the list. I live in Florida, and the prices of homes in Florida, to me, is just overvalued. Now, this phenomenon is really interesting. Listen, there's a big discussion that everyone's having now, like a big debate, whether it's better to rent or to own. It's just that big discussion. And to me, the answer was clear. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, damn near 8 years ago, it was an easy answer: buying a home. The prices of home was extremely reasonable, but now, as we're seeing, the prices of homes are ridiculous. And the reason why we're seeing that gap and we're seeing that phenomenon, and what makes things a little more different than it was back in the days is, first of all, you see that, you think this is the best time for someone to buy a house, to jump in, but it's not the case. And the reason being, there's a few reasons. I'm gonna go with the first one. The first one is the prices of homes are still ridiculously priced extremely high. Yes, that's great. There's a whole bunch of people willing to sell their houses damn near 3 or 4 times more than the cost that they bought it. Of course, that makes sense. But the average buyer is still not able to pay for those prices. The prices are extremely high. And of course, if the price is going to be that high, just put it out there, because we all know there's people that will do whatever it takes to buy a house, and they'll overspend just to get into a house, because people come up with this idea saying, well, I need a house in order to build wealth in America. That's the American dream, is to own a home. But that's not always the case. As we know, so many people right now are extremely house poor, which is a good reason probably why we're seeing so many people selling their homes. A lot of people come into a realization that owning a home is extremely expensive. It's extremely expensive, and some people jumped into a house thinking that was the best thing for them to do, and now they're recognizing the cost of repairs, the property taxes, especially seeing that Florida has that big gap, is because the property taxes in Florida is so expensive. But not only the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance is extremely expensive, and it's going up year after year. DeSantis says he's going to get rid of property taxes. That'll be a good thing, but we all know the number one problem that people face here in Florida is the high homeowners insurance. And another reason why, yeah, that's great that there's so many sellers, but the mortgage rates are still up to at least the average 7%. People cannot afford to get homes with prices that already is extremely high. And on top of that, you're paying 7% on your mortgage rate. That's not the ideal situation out of reach. You need to have a down payment. You need to have some money for your property insurance. You need to have money for inspection. There's so many things that come along with getting a house that makes it extremely difficult for people to buy a house during this age. And especially the mortgage rates. The mortgage rates seem like it's not going to go down anytime soon. Okay, it seems like every time there's talks about the Feds cutting rates, that's good news, especially if people have mortgages. But it looks like that's not going to happen because we're still fighting with inflation, and mortgage rates are still going to remain the same. So this is really like extremely disappointing every time I see like these statistics, because it's teasing people who still are chasing the American dream. And it's making people think, oh, there's so many sellers out there, let me just jump in now and buy a house. But it's still extremely expensive to get a house. The obstacles that people have to go to get a house that's affordable is extremely high, and it's not easy to get into. And it's really frustrating. That's why I feel for so many people out there. If you're someone out there who's currently trying to buy a house and you're going through this whole home buying process, like what are you going through right now? Like, how are you feeling? Because I know it's extremely frustrating, right? Because I got lucky, right? I extremely got lucky. And this is a good story I'm going to share with you guys to let you know how crazy the housing market is. Like 4 years ago, I was able to buy my house. And the rate that I got was 2.75 on my mortgage. Awesome rate. And when I got the house, it was not like just an easy thing to get. There was a lot of bidding going on. So obviously at that point, there was more sellers than buyers. So it was like a bidding war. And I got the house right before things went nuts. I got extremely lucky that they chose me. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of sad that if you want to buy a house and you could afford it, that you have to get chosen to buy a house. That's how crazy things were back in days. I was lucky enough for them to pick me. And I didn't overpay. Actually, I actually paid exactly for the asking price, even though I tried to go low. But during those times, there was no negotiating. I was able to pay for the asking price, and that's it. I'm in this house. But you know what happened like 2 months later after I bought my house? I paid $350,000 for my house. The price of my house has went up to $500,000, and it remained there. And now it's appreciating in a slower rate, but it made that big jump. And for the past 4 years, it has not dipped below 500,000. I've seen people buying houses as well, very close to me now with the new prices, up to $500,000 for a house. And most houses on my block have pools. People are paying ridiculous amount of money for houses that don't even have pools, that needed major renovations. Those older couples living there that never really did renovations, major renovations. This housing market is insane. And I understand that doing this video is trying to like make people feel like, hey, I can get a house now. But that's not the case, man. So many people just hating the fact that they're renting. But I want to tell people this right now, man. Be grateful that right now you're paying the rent that you're paying, because everything's extremely expensive right now. Right now, owning a home, man, like buying a house is just the first part. But I was mentioning earlier, the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance is going up. The cost of everything is going up. Obviously, groceries and everything. The repairs you need to do in your house is astronomically higher. You have to save more because now we're all worried about layoffs. That stress level is extremely high because some people live in paycheck to paycheck, and really they just go to work a 9 to 5 to just pay for their mortgage. Like they're a slave to the mortgage. And that's why, guys, I really want to stress this as much as possible. When you see stuff like this, do not think that automatically you could just get a house. Please save for a down payment. Expect to have at least 3 to 5% for a down payment. Save for the emergency fund on top of that. Save for repairs or renovations you might want to do in your house. Yes, it might be a lot of money you might need to save. To some people, it's probably $20,000 to $30,000, and they don't want to hear it. They just want to get a house with no down payment. Don't worry about renovations. I'll take care of it later on. If things break, I'll just figure it out. But that right there is going to put you in a financial disaster and possibly put you in foreclosure. You don't want to get a house and be house poor. What's the point? That's not the point of living, is just buying a house and just working and working to just pay the mortgage, and that's it. Guys, drop a comment down below and let me know, what do you think about this whole housing market and the insanity that was going on in there? I would really love to hear it. Catch you guys on my next video. At the same time, hit the like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Peace.